Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel, where it's that time of the week. It's time for Eddie versus the algorithm. If you're new around here, first of all subscribe, but this is the series on YouTube where we're putting a man up against a machine for every week of the FPL season. And in specific terms, I'm putting together my own on paper free hit team, and we're seeing whether the algorithm calculated by Fantasy Football Fix can get a predicted points team that ends up scoring higher than my team that I put together. Last week in Game Week 26, the algorithm did just that. It absolutely wiped the floor with me, just thanks to Mohamed Salah, really. In the team against Manchester United was a bit of an unpopular decision, but it ended off paying up massively, and so the algorithm, bit of a masterstroke there, you could say, or maybe it just got a little bit lucky. Well, we'll move into Game Week 27 anyway, brush that briefly aside. Hopefully I can do better in this one, and let's get into things, shall we? And we'll kick things off with the algorithm side. And in goal for the algorithm this week, and a total of 95 points looks very nice at first glance. It's going to be David Raya in goal for Brentford's double. He looks the best goalkeeping option at the moment. There's not really anything to dispute in this spot. With the Brighton goalkeeper situation a little bit up in the air, although I do think Steele looks very likely to start these next two games based on just what I'm interpreting from De Zerbi's words, I still think the Brentford keeper is of course the best option to go for. Long term as well, if you're looking at that as an option for your team, Brentford have a fixture in Game Week 28, whereas someone like Brighton don't. So if you don't have cover from your second keeper, then Raya, you can start him every single week and you shouldn't have a problem with that. 5 fixtures in the next 3 game weeks for Brentford. And we'll move into the defence where the Brentford assets don't stop coming in. Rico Henry is going to be in the side as well for a double up on the Brenton back line. Although it's 2 away fixtures, I really do still fancy it. And I think that Rico Henry, despite Pinnock scoring a goal and Ben Mee, we know he can score goals from set pieces, Henry would still be my pick of choice due to that underlying attacking data being more in the left-back's favour. And speaking of left-backs, Estupinian is the next one into the side from Brighton. Likewise with Rico Henry, he seems to have the best underlying data of his defence from Brighton, and then they've got Leeds and Crystal Palace in the double game week as well, so another really nice set of fixtures. Would definitely be looking to have him in your side. It's pretty much Estupinian, or you go with all 3 Brighton midfielders if you're looking for a triple up in that regard, in my opinion. And then finally, Kieran Trippier comes back into the algorithm 11, a really nice home fixture against Wolves. I've seen some people considering benching him this week. I would not be doing that. I definitely have him starting in my side alongside whichever doublers I have in the defence. So yeah, looks a really good option. We know what he can do. Although Newcastle have been shipping a few more goals lately, I still think their defence looks really solid, and this fixture is definitely one where I can see a great chance of a clean sheet home to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who've been struggling for goals for the most part of the season. We'll move into midfield then, and the midfield 5, where things get a little bit more interesting, you'd have to say. There are 2 teams that people have just kind of forgotten about actually have a double game week as well, and albeit because their fixtures on paper aren't as strong as Brighton's or Brentford's. And that's Southampton and Crystal Palace, and Ward-Prowse and Zaha from those 2 teams are in this side. Manchester United and Manchester City being the 2 toughest fixtures that both teams respectively face. But Ward-Prowse and Zaha are both on penalties. Zaha looked really good in his return from injury in Game Week 26. Ward-Prowse didn't look so good in that game week, missing from the spot. But when you've got Ward-Prowse in your team, pretty much any free kick ends up being about the same chance of going in the back of the net that a penalty has anyway, I suppose you could say. So 2 differential options there, maybe could be quite exciting, but you have to consider things in the long term. We've got so many other midfielders in good form. Marcus Rashford's not in this team. We've got 2 Brighton mids in, but no room for Arsenal assets who have a fixture next week that looks pretty nice in Game Week 28. So it's just finding room for any differential options in our side, and whether that's going to be able to come in midfield or whether we're going to have to look to more differential forward options or defenders. The other 2 midfielders of note with Brighton are March and Matoma, so going for those 2 out of the 3 Brighton midfielders of choice, the other one being of course McAllister. I do like those 2 options. Matoma looks great on the eye test, and Solly March pretty much has the best underlying data as far as expected assists is concerned anyway. Since Game Week 23, McAllister has actually looked better from an expected goals perspective, as he's moved behind the striker to play in that sort of number 10 role. But when we look at the underlying data with regards to Brighton's opponents and where they most concede their chances, it's actually down Solly March's flank, and he looks really good going down that side of the pitch where the teams and the opponents for not only game week 27 but also game week 29 as well actually concede a lot of chances from where Solly March plays. So I'm sure he'll get the chances. Whether he can be as clinical as we've seen Matoma being, I suppose it's up to your interpretation. But the final midfielder of this bunch is going to be Mohamed Salah, going up against Bournemouth, coming off the back of a very nice performance in game week 26 as we saw, and resulting in a win for the algorithm. That 7-0 victory over Manchester United was a painful one as a United fan. But Liverpool will be looking to build on that, and a Bournemouth away fixture is a very nice opportunity to do so. The algorithm's got the budget, so it splashed it on Mohamed Salah again. And we'll round things off with the front line. There's no room for Erling Haaland this week. It's going to be Ivan Toney who takes the captain's armband once again for Brentford's double. And then Harry Kane, a single game week player with a Nottingham Forest fixture at home, where they don't look great on the road, Forest, but they do look good at home. So if you want to capitalise on jumping on teams who are facing them, it's best to do it when Forest are the ones away from home, and this is one such fixture. Spurs crashing out of the UCL last night, but Harry Kane does look pretty good still. He's all that Mr. Consistent. He may come in with a mega haul. I think he's a better option than Erling Haaland this week if I had to pick to have only one in my side. But then on the bench, we're going to see a final four of Gaeta, Adams, Perisic and Mitchell. So a few more double game weekers from those teams that have gone under the radar, but also Perisic as well. Not sure I'd go for him due to the fact that he's just not really nailed on for minutes, but I don't expect that he'll be needed from the bench anyway with the players in this side. But we'll move into my team then and have a look at how I've changed things. I've actually gone pretty boringly with the exact same back line. I've gone with Raya, Henry, Estupiñán and Trippier. I just think there's nothing I could change there that would make me more excited or make me feel more confident of getting more points than what the algorithms put together. But I have made some changes further up the pitch, so I have gone for McAllister over Solly March, just due to that expected goal threat. And I think that when you consider with midfielders that they score 5 points for a goal and 3 for an assist, expected goals actually does make a big difference. So that 2 extra points, plus McAllister being on penalties, having all those chances for expected goal data, I think that it could be a bit of a masterstroke. But it's so neck and neck between the two. It could be a real point swing. It could be pretty much nothing between it. It really is a coin toss, so I'm making it interesting by going with someone different anyway. But I've kept Salah. I've gone with also Marcus Rashford, a single game week player in this side. Southampton's defensive data doesn't actually look too poor, but it looks like an opportunity for Manchester United to bounce back from that heavy defeat in game week 26, and I'm sure Marcus Rashford will be at the forefront of it if they do go big against Southampton. And then finally up front, I've gone with Erling Haaland, so I've dropped Ward-Prowse and Zaha to bring in Rashford, and then Erling Haaland up top. That Crystal Palace away fixture still looks pretty decent on paper for me, and I think Erling Haaland, I'm just a bit scared that if I don't go with him, he'll absolutely whack it out the park, and I won't have had him in my team this week. And if he does go out the park, then I'll have him in my side, and the algorithm doesn't, so it could give me a big chance of a victory in this team this week. Davies, Botman and Andreas on the bench. I think my bench ends up being stronger than the algorithms really, despite having no doublers on it. Davies is the most nailed Spurs defender really that's got any kind of capability of playing in an attacking position. We've seen him at left wing back a few times in recent game weeks. And then Botman, Wolves at home, I mentioned, is a very strong fixture for Newcastle. I could see a clean sheet in that one as well. And then we've got Forster as the backup keeper for if something happens to Raya. Again, Spurs, decent chance of a clean sheet at home to Nottingham Forest, you would hope. So that's going to wrap up Eddie versus the algorithm for Game Week 27. Let me know down below in the comments, as always, who do you think is going to come out on top? Comment Team Eddie or Team Algorithm for this week. Leave any feedback you have for the video as well, and make sure to drop a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. It really helps us all out here at Fantasy Football Fix. So thank you for tuning in, everybody. I wish you all the best of luck for Game Week 27, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.